Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update. Let me be one of the first, if not the first, to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Well, let's take a look at what's going on in the Middle East this week. There's a lot going on, obviously, with leadership in the world, whether it's Trump's impeachment or whether it's Netanyahu's indictment. Bottom line, we have two strong leaders that are being brought down essentially for the same reason. And my gut tells me this is bad news, and we need to watch for the different layers of this and the implications of especially Bibi's indictment. I sort of feel like it's God's sense of humor because we're going to talk about the third elections and what's going on because of this indictment and the internal squabblings in Likud and all of that. But if Israel fails over the next 20 days to cobble together a unity government, guess what? The third elections, right? Do you know what day they'll fall on? Again, God's sense of humor. Israel's March elections would fall on Purim. And if you've never been to Israel during Purim, you have no idea of what the atmosphere is going to be like at this time. Well, some other things regarding Jordan. King Abdullah has told the Washington Institute for Middle East Policy that relationships between Israel and Jordan are at an all-time low. And in fact, later in this report, we're going to talk about the WAF. We're going to talk about a mosque in the, catch this, in the Jewish quarter that is being funded by the Jordanians. So, wow. Who can you imagine? I try to stay away from the squad or whatever they're called, but every so often I can't help myself. Ilhan Omar has been reported from Florida courts that she was been recruited and has received funding from Qatar, and she's also guilty of passing sensitive information via intermediaries to, of all places, Iran. Again, I thought when I heard this, fake news or whatever, but this story is starting to gain traction, and this came out of Israel. Well, one last thing for our news bites. Several thousand, I always think it's funny the way the news reports things depending on their biases, but in one account I read that there were a couple thousand or something that came out to support Bibi on Tuesday night. Bottom line, organizers have pegged the number of participants for the support of Netanyahu in Tel Aviv, and it's very significant. 15,000 people coming out under the banner of Stop the Coup, in a sense. And so Bibi has maintained his strength among the right-wingers, which again, what's that mean? It means third elections, in my opinion. Okay, we've talked about Bibi being indicted. That happened this week. 3 allegations. They're known as Case 1000, Case 2000, and Case 4000. They have to do with the Case 1000 has to do with cigars and champagne that were gifts from a billionaire friend. Case 2000 has to do with trading favors with a newspaper publisher. And Case 4000, same sort of concept, but instead of newspaper, a popular news site in Israel. It's hard to imagine that these things would be able to indict and imprison Netanyahu. So we'll have to wait. Netanyahu says he's not above the law, but he believes that the prosecutors of all this are more corrupt than the corruption that they're, in a sense, levying on him. So we're going to have to wait and see how all this falls out. The Knesset has made the statement that in the meantime, even before this goes to trial, whenever it goes to trial, Netanyahu still has the power of the government that he's leading right now, and that government will be in place until there is a majority, and that's back to our concept of third elections. There's an article here about the fallout. Like I said, it kind of goes back and forth with what news report you read, but Gideon Sa'ar, kind of the next guy in line in Likud, tried to kind of overthrow, or in a sense have snap elections or primaries to basically say, Bibi, you need to step down. But the latest polls indicate that more than half the population is in support of Netanyahu, and so his bid has failed. And again, Netanyahu is the heavy favorite once again to be the leader of Likud. A very troubling article. I hope, by the way, I usually mention this, you can get the PowerPoint PDF on our website at holygroundexplorations.com. You're going to want to get it, especially for this article here. Butler University students have flown the flag of the PFLP terror organization on their campus. The bottom line is that I've given a list of the terrorist activities of this group that basically it's recognized as a terror organization by the European Union, the United States, Canada, Israel. Bottom line is it's hard to imagine at Butler University students waving, Hezbollah, waving Hamas, but the PFLP, as you look at their actions of what they, in a sense, are known for, it's a separate page on the PowerPoint. There's probably 15 different things. You remember Entebbe, you remember the different suicide bombings and the hijacking of buses and school children. It's all documented here. And so if ever there was another one of those signs that anti-Semitism is growing today on American campuses, there you have it. The Jewish Quarter, I mentioned that Jordan's in the final stages of renovating the Seder Omor Mosque that's in the heart of the Jewish Quarter. If you've been there, you remember, you know that as we make our way down through St. James Street and we kind of go over the Cardo and we look down and see the Cardo, and then we kind of emerge and see the Herva Synagogue, and we're in the Jewish Quarter right next to the Herva Synagogue. In the past has been an abandoned mosque, but Jordan now is in the final stages of renovating this, and it's created just, again, religious tensions, not just in the old city, we're talking about in the Jewish Quarter. So there's a couple articles on that. I'm running out of time here. TikTok, we've talked about the third elections that seem to be imminent. And so that's the Middle East. That's what's going on this week. I'd like to again wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and a reminder, let's be like the sons of Issachar, then understand the times and know what we should be doing. One of the things that I know that we should be doing is praying for the peace of Jerusalem and standing and praying that Jewish eyes would be open, that they would see and they would receive their Mashiach, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. God bless you. And again, Happy Thanksgiving.